All right, everybody, welcome to Picks and Politics Daily Pop Daily. I'm Dan Mannarino. It is Thursday, April 10th, and today we are going to be laser focused on a very important issue playing out in real time, and that is what's happening to the 9/11 Health Fund, right? And there's one man who's been really leading the charge here, leading the fight, has been for quite some time. We've been talking to him over and over again. He led the fight in terms of getting the funding approved by Congress a few years ago, John Feal. And John Feal is the head of the Feel Good Foundation. John, welcome to the show. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Dan.
So I want to talk about, first and foremost, what exactly is happening right now, right? Because I think to some people, they hear that there's some controversy around people being fired, losing their jobs, and what that's going to do to the 9/11 Health Fund, which was given the money for decades upon decades, a fight that you won just a few years ago. So explain from that moment to where we are today and what we're seeing take place.
Yeah, you started the segment with real time. Real time is what we in civilian life is a daily, 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Real time in D.C. is about 7 years to 1 hour. And they just don't move fast enough for those who are suffering. Dan, we're fighting two battles right now, and two uphill battles. One, trying to get legislation passed to fix the shortfall of the $3 billion from 2015. We're going back to D.C. In a couple of weeks. We've already been there twice. I'm bringing about 20 guys with us. We'll have meetings all day. And we either get attached to a larger vehicle or somebody has the Abe Lincolns to discharge this, so we're a standalone bill and we see who votes like an American. Okay. That's one issue. And that's a very important issue for the World Trade Center Health Program to remain up and running past 2027. The second issue is DOGE, back in February, cut the CDC by 20%. We got that restored because those were the people that oversaw the World Trade Center Health Program at NIOSH, who works for the CDC.
Yeah.
Now DOGE has fired Dr. Howard, the lead doctor at NIOSH, and his whole staff. Now, while technically Dr. Howard's been restored in his position, his staff hasn't. It's like giving him a cruise ship with making him the captain without a staff.
And to be clear, John, that's 870 positions, right?
That is correct. And, these people that were let go and just wiped off the map, these are people that were in charge of enrollment, and these are people that were in charge of certifying illnesses. And there's already a backlog of people getting in the program, and there's already a backlog of people getting certified for their illnesses. And we're talking stage 3, stage 4 cancer, where they don't have the luxury of waiting. DOGE and those 21-year-old frat boys, they used an AI program to slash programs all across the board in the federal government.
Right.
They have created more pain and suffering, not just for the 9/11 community, but for the Americans across the board, because they don't understand the nuances of the federal government and how it helps the American people. And shame on them, because it was reckless, it was ignorant, and it was malice.
Yeah, help me understand this a bit, because you're talking about how doctors can't certify cancer cases for compensation, right? In terms of those positions being eliminated.
Well, not just compensation, free healthcare.
Right. But so if you're somebody who suffers from a cancer, right, and you go to your doctor, and your doctor says, yes, this is related to 9/11, that then would then be kicked over to one of those 870 employees who would evaluate whether or not you have a case?
Correct. So I'll make it easy. Dan, you're a 9/11 responder, you got cancer. You probably went to a oncologist. Yeah. But then you're like, oh, I was at 9/11. I can go into the World Trade Center Health Program.
Okay.
You can go to the World Trade Center Health Program and sign up, but there's already a backlog of 2 to 3 months to get in the program. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're terminal, they'll expedite it, maybe 4 weeks. When you do get into the program, the doctors at the World Trade Center Health Program will look at your records. You'll take a urine test, a blood work, chest x-ray, breathing test, like everybody else does who goes in the program.
Yeah.
They have to send it to NIOSH. NIOSH can't certify that because there's no doctor at NIOSH to certify that.
Right.
That is going to create a snowball effect, and more people are going to suffer. And I'm afraid, without hesitation, somebody will die.
So we've seen the Trump administration do a few reversals when it comes to tariffs and things like that, right? I saw you stand side by side with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Chuck Schumer. What are they saying about the fight and moving forward and how to reverse this, which is something that they and you want to do?
You know, I love my senators, and we fight a lot and we argue a lot, and behind closed doors, there's a lot of four-letter words being used.
From you, never.
Well, from them too, trust me. An elected official is only as good as the advocate, and the advocate's only as good as the elected official. And everybody's got to put their egos aside and work together for the masses. I'm confident we'll get this restored somehow, some way. Will it look like it did in the beginning? I don't know. But we'll make it so that people continue to get help. We're going to get legislation passed. I've been doing this for 20 plus years now. We're 19 for 19 in getting legislation passed.
Right.
And I'm not about to lose because of the ideologies of this Congress, the ignorance of this Congress. There are people that are suffering, and I have no boundaries and no rules when it comes to human life and people that are suffering.
But just to be clear, behind closed doors, I know you can't say too much about what happens behind closed doors, but I know you also don't hold back. Well, I know. I was going to say, you don't hold back. So what are Gillibrand or Schumer saying? You're saying there's some four-letter words being thrown around. They want it to be reversed, right?
Absolutely. People forget, because we have such a turnover in Congress, that they think this is a New York issue.
Yeah.
This is New York's problem. But the fact is, somebody from every state went to ground zero during the 10-month cleanup. 434 out of 435 congressional districts were represented at ground zero. There's 137,000 plus people in the World Trade Center Health Program. Now 80,000 plus of them come from New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
I get that. But you have 900 and something in California. You have 800 and something in Texas. These are human lives. These aren't statistics. These aren't, Dan, every year, and this year you'll read the names, and I'm honored to have you. Every year from September to September, I keep a track of the fatality count in the 9/11 responder community. From September of 13 of last year to now, we're at 213. We'll be way over 300. You will read 300 names, followed by the ringing of the bell. And every time that bell rings, it will cut through you like a knife. Yeah. Trust me, my friend.
No, I know.
If our elected officials, whether they're in New York or across the country, need to take this serious, because many of them are going to come to New York on 9/11 for the anniversary or the remembrance.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, "Never forget 9/11. Oh, I'll never back down. I'm a patriot. Yada yada." I'm insulted, and everybody affected by 9/11 should be insulted on one, just trying to live another day with their illnesses, and two, having to put up with the toxic crap that comes out of D.C.
Let me ask you about something that played out in New York City about this very issue, right? One of our colleagues in the media, Katie Honan, she works for the city. She questioned the mayor about this exact issue that you are fighting. She mentions you by name, and the mayor doesn't answer the question. She said, what do you think of what's playing out with these 870 employees losing their lives? She follows him for quite some time on video. I don't know if you saw the clip. He does not answer the question. What did you think of that video? Do you want the mayor to say something about this and get involved?
Eric Adams means nothing to me. Eric Adams shouldn't be mayor. He's not qualified to be mayor. He's already proved that he should be in jail. So I want a mayor who's going to care about humanity, who has empathy, and who has compassion. This is a man who cares about himself, saving his own butt, and he made a deal with this administration. So we know where his mind is, and especially I know where his heart is, and it's not for the 9/11 community. And last time I checked, Eric Adams had a lot of friends that were down at ground zero. A lot of police officers served the same time he did. Well, many of them are sick, many of them have died, and he swallowed the pill, and he doesn't have the DNA to care anymore.
So City Hall is not somebody that you're talking to that you want to go down to Washington with to fight the fight?
No, I mean, it was the last mayor and the mayor before that. They were all against us. None of them ever. Bloomberg was against it, and I'm good friends with Bloomberg. Giuliani, who hates me, was against it. De Blasio, who knew one day he was for it, one day he was against it.
Yeah.
They always seem to get in the way and create an obstacle or hurdle for us while we were trying to get legislation passed. So, these are selfish men. These are men who shouldn't be leading. A true leader is somebody who cares, somebody who can show they're vulnerable, somebody who can show they're flawed, so you can move forward with the community and collaborate in helping the masses.
And so let me ask you then, John, I've spoken to you many times.
No,
You're
I'm
not
not
somebody,
running for mayor.
No, I know. But you're somebody who doesn't give up, right? So what are the next steps? What's the next trip to D.C.? How do you see a timeline playing out?
Constant pressure on the administration, constant pressure on HHS, constant pressure from the media. We keep telling our stories, and while it's redundant and slowly killing us, we gotta remind ourselves that people are sick and dying. People are sick and dying. We're not making this up. These people are dying, and so we're a finite number. Dan, we're getting smaller every year. We're getting smaller every year, and we're their last line of hope and faith that we're going to get it done, and we're gonna do whatever it takes. We'll be in D.C. in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll have meetings all day. I'm going to bring about 20 guys down there.
With both sides, right? Democrats and Republicans?
Oh, listen, most of the meetings we're having are with Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the guys that I'm bringing down there, most of them are Republicans anyway. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. This is not about politics. This is about humanity. This is about human beings treating each other the right way. And right now, this administration and those who work for it just lack common sense and humanity.
Do me a favor, keep me posted on that, all right? Because we're going to follow the story. You could always come back and talk about this. You always have a place here to talk about this really important issue. It's important to our viewers as well. But I'll talk to you after that trip, all right?
You got it, sir.
John, always good to talk to you.
You too.
All right, everybody, and that's going to do it for us here on Picks on Politics Daily. We're going to keep on this story, of course, every step of the way, and we'll talk to John in a few weeks about the latest there. But in the meantime, I'm Dan Mannarino. Enjoy the rest of your day.